Just when you thought the level of stupid regarding the story about the missing F-35 couldn't go any lower, the floor collapses and a brand new sub-basement of ridiculous has now appeared. There's a new story out. I kid you not. I did not think this story was going to go this long. I thought they would have learned their lesson by now, but apparently they haven't. They are reporting something that physically now defies the basic laws of physics you learned in 8th grade. How many of you remember, especially you Gen Xers, you remember back when they used to teach things? Newton's laws. An object at rest will stay at rest. An object in motion stays in motion in whatever direction it's going, with the same speed and direction, unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. 2. The acceleration of an object, how fast it's going, is dependent upon two variables, the net force acting on it and the mass of the object. And of course, 3, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now, these are used every single day if you drive a car, if you ride in a bus, if you've ever fallen down the stairs, if you've ever fallen up the stairs, like some of us have been known to do. That's why we don't have many basements here in Florida. Just picking on Florida for a minute here. But anyway, real quick, before we get into this, you're not going to believe this. I mean, even Florida man can figure this one out. This is something that is just so far beyond the pale of insane. I don't know how they can report it with a straight face. This is 8th grade stuff. Real quick, thank you, everybody who's joining us over at Patreon. God bless all of you. At the end of this video, I'm going to assign a little bit of quote-unquote homework for my Patreon crowd, and we're going to do a video based on that homework here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Real quick, if you'd like to join us, it's only $1. It's only $1 US, not per video, not per week. It's per month. And it's even less if you sign up for an entire year, pardon me. You get a discount, and it comes out to just pocket change. We can partner with Vimeo over there, kind of take the gloves off, so to speak, and we can speak like we used to be able to speak back when we were in 8th, 9th, 10th grade learning about Newton's laws. You could, at least in private company, speak your mind. It was part of our rights. People used to know that. Now, real quick, Newton's laws of physics. An object at rest will stay at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion, same speed and direction, blah, blah, blah. You covered this, Mucky, we know. Okay, here is the base where the F-35 took off. The report stated, and we've covered this in other videos, we're not going to go back over this, that roughly about a minute or so after takeoff, the pilot ejected. Now, whether it was auto-eject or whether he ejected, doesn't really matter. Takeoff speed for the F-35 is almost 200 knots, minimum, recommended speed. This gray line here, here's the runway, here's the red line. It takes us all the way to the scene of the crash, all the way up here, straight line. This gray area represents about 1 minute of travel once airborne. Now, I said it right at the end of the runway. Maybe he got airborne back here. Basically, the idea is this. Traveling at almost 200 knots, you cover, I believe it's about 3.8 miles. Now, this line here is about 3, so I just wanted to be conservative. Now, he's here. He hits the guns. He takes off. And he has about a minute of travel. They said he went to 1,000 feet and ejected. Now, what do we know about Newton's first law of motion? If you're moving at 200 knots in this direction and you eject, you and your ejection seat are going to continue to travel in the same direction that you were traveling in the jet. You would go this way. And you would land somewhere up over here somewhere. You go up in the air. See this red circle over here? This is where the pilot landed. In fact, we're going to play an audio clip. We're going to play an audio clip that confirms this. The 911 call that came in reporting the pilot. The guy gives the 911 dispatcher the address, 6938 South Kenwood Drive. 6938 South Kenwood Drive. Why can I say that? Because it's reported on AP. 6938 South Kenwood Drive was the backyard where this guy was. There's absolutely no possible way. I don't care if he ejected sideways. I don't care if he took off here. If he's traveling at 200 knots and he's gotten enough airspeed to get up to 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet, and he ejects at 200 knots, he is not landing at 6938 South Kenwood Drive. I don't care who you are. It's not happening. It would be literally impossible. He would literally have to be, the only possible way, he would still have to have been literally on the runway. And maybe it started going, maybe it got up to 100 knots, 110 knots, and then ejected, maybe, still on the runway. And then he could have floated here, but they're saying he was airborne, and a minute airborne, meaning he had traveled at least 3 miles. 1 minute of travel at 200 knots is 3.8. We'll say 3. He ejects here. He's going downrange somewhere down here. Now, some might say, what about this other runway? Well, that opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? If he took off on this runway, going this direction, there's no way he gets to 1,000 feet and he lands at the end of the runway. There's no way. There just doesn't happen. It just does not happen. There's just no way. Not at that speed. We're talking, I mean, just a few seconds and they would be beyond this. This gray line is 3 miles. But real quick, let's go back. Let's go back and let's listen to that audio clip. Let's see if is it Washington Times or AP. AP. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and put it up to the speaker.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
It's 6938 South Kenwood Drive.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
It says that, yeah. You just want me to tell you you got ejected?
I will get my back for a little bit, but
I guess we got a pilot at our house and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane, so
yeah.
We just see if we could get some ambulance, please.
I'm sorry, what happened?
We got a pilot in the house, and I guess he landed in my backyard, and we were trying to see if we could get a ambulance to the house, please. And the address is 6938 South Kenwood Drive.
We know my face. Okay.
Okay, so like, how, okay,
What's that?
what is the phone number that you're calling from? Okay, we're getting help on the way. Give me just a moment.
Yeah, no problem.
I just wasn't there. Okay, I'm in a house. I made it in a neighborhood. I don't know what happened. Everything failed.
911, what's...
So there you go. At the very end here, you might have heard it, and you can go back and replay it. He's apparently on his another phone talking to somebody else, saying, "I don't know what happened. Complete fail." Now, there's only so many different explanations that can come from this, but I pulled up a distance to the horizon calculator. In another video, in another article, he stated that he said he came down from 2,000 feet. The military reports that he was at 1,000 feet. The funny part about that is this. If he was truly at 2,000 feet, the distance to the horizon, and flat earthers, just take a walk for a minute, go play in traffic. The distance to the horizon at 2,000 feet is 55 miles. Now, why is that important? If he ejected from his aircraft and he had his altitude indicator set flat and level right at the horizon was 55 miles away. For those of you that are unaware, this particular gauge inside the cockpit of an aircraft, it tells you basically where you are in space regarding nose up, nose down, and your angle toward, the horizon and gravity. This particular image shows somebody who is right after takeoff. They're this yellow line being above the white line being the horizon, you are now pulling back and you are elevating. You're gaining altitude. Here, if you're on approach to landing, you can see the yellow line is below the white line. That's the horizon. You are on approach to landing. You are descending. So descending, ascending, flying flat. So the funny thing about that is that if in fact he was at 2,000 feet when he ejected, if he was at 2,000 feet over the airport and he ejected straight, if he was aiming, if he had the nose of that aircraft and he aimed it directly at the horizon from that altitude, directly at the horizon with no other inputs, where the plane was found would have literally been the end of the horizon that he would have seen. Indiantown. See, that's the kind of the little details that make you scratch your head. Because this thing literally did fly a straight line right off the end of the runway and was on the ground from the time that he left to the time that he was on the ground. Like I said, assuming it maintains 200 knots, but if he was ascending, he was probably gaining speed. Let's just assume 200 knots. 15 minutes on the outside. I've had guys say probably more like 270 knots and probably in the ground in less than 10. And once again, giant, flaming kaboom would have been heard for a long time. I wish I would have brought up that meme from the Martian. Remember the Martian from Bugs Bunny? Where's the kaboom? Remember that? Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to have been an earth-shattering kaboom. It's just bizarre. There's a Washington Times article that talks about this. And now this image, I don't want folks to get confused. This image allegedly was from the people who lived next to the crash site. That's what this was supposed to be. That there was a vehicle, there was a house somewhere near where the plane went down. But when I look at that image and we go back to Google Earth Pro and we zoom in down here, I wonder if they misreported. Because that looks a lot more like this house. Here, where that porch was. I wonder if we have, it's not showing that there's any street level here. Oh, no, it is. There you go. Is that the same house? Let's go back and take a look. Well, let's see. We got the brick step here. Yeah. Wait, no, it's close. Nope, that is a different house. That is a different house. For sure. Okay. So this is one house. This is where the guy's ejection seat landed. And then here is the house where that was near to the crash site. So we've got that all sorted. Okay. This guy's quoted, "We got a pilot in the house, and I guess he landed in my backyard, and we're trying to see if we can get an ambulance to the house." I'll let you guys read this for yourself. But basic physics now. Now it's 8th grade physics. There's absolutely no way. Let me get out of Street View here. Given the orientation of these runways, moving at that speed at 1,000 feet, there's no way he would have landed here. He would have had to have ejected literally over the airport. to land here. Now, the other idea of him taking off this direction so that he would land here would not explain how that aircraft made this giant arcing right turn and just so happened to end up 60 miles away right off the end of this runway. That would be the chances of that are beyond astronomically small. That it would just so happen that 2,000 feet from an altitude of 2,000 feet, the horizon being the crash site, that it wouldn't be this particular runway is diminishing to the point of almost not even worth talking about. So I will leave it there. I mean, I don't know what you guys are going to take from this. Maybe I've missed something, but what do you guys have to say? Real quick. This has been a very popular meme going around lately for those of you over at Patreon. 125 years ago, you didn't have to ask permission from the government to collect rainwater, go fishing, own a property, start a business, renovate your home, build a home, use a transportation vehicle, get married, hunt, own a weapon, cut hair, sell a product, protest, grow food on your property, set up a lemonade stand, sell food. You can do virtually nothing without being extorted by government and obtaining their permission first. If you still think you're free, you're deluding yourself. You live in a tax farm as free-range humans. Now, which one or which combination of the 24 cognitive biases and the 24 logical fallacies is this particular individual using to make people believe something that they think they already believed? See, people would look at this and go, yeah, I've thought this for a long time. That's absolutely right. 125 years ago, we need to go back to MAGA. Which ones? There are 24 cognitive biases and 24 logical fallacies that a combination of the two is always used in every single psychological operation out there. That's going to be your homework. I'll leave this up here for a minute so you can screenshot it. And then you can go look at all of your cognitive biases, go look at all of your logical fallacies. And you can pick things out. And you can put it together. And then ask yourself the question, well, should we go back to 125 years ago? What else wasn't going on 125 years ago? That's a hint. So I'll leave it there. If you'd like to join us for psychological operations discussions, would love to have you. That's what we do over at the Florida Monkey Patreon channel. We take modern stories and modern information, and then we break down what's being said, and then we show the tactics and techniques, the cognitive biases, and the logical fallacies that everybody falls victim to. Everybody falls victim to if they don't know they're being targeted. And we expose it. And we lay it all out. And then you go away with this idea, next time somebody tries to mess with my mind that way, I'm going to be prepared. $1 per month. There's a $5 level over there. It's not required, but there's enough folks that were asking that I set it up. God bless every single one of you. I very, very much appreciate this. This was my background in the military. Some are asking, why do you have a channel about this on Patreon? I was Army interrogation. That was my job in the military. I was not a door kicker. I wasn't some super soldier. I wasn't special forces. I wasn't any of this sexy romantic stuff. I drove a desk. My job was to know the human mind and how to get the enemy to do things we wanted him to do without him knowing we were the ones getting him to do it. That was the job. Because if you can achieve a goal without a single shot being fired and nobody put in harm's way, well, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? So, God bless. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Like, share, subscribe. Pray for each other. I always almost forget to say this. I'll pray for you. You pray for me. Pray for each other. Lift each other up. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.